Okay, go ahead. Ask the Sebastian question.
Hi, Maarten.
Hi, Shelley. Long time no see. Very good to
Yeah.
talk to you both.
Yeah.
Look, Steve and I are just going, did you really swim for 45 hours? Look at your recovery, mate. You look like a spring chicken. You could go do it again.
Yeah, I'm fine. Yeah, I'm fine. I made it. I'm fine that we had such a beautiful 45 hours and happy it's done. And now ready to celebrate New Year almost.
Yes. So let me go back. So you finished 45 hours, almost on to the second. I mean, your team was there and you did 45 hours, bam, and you stopped. It was always great. But they look cold. What was the air temperature when you were swimming?
Yeah, it was I think a little bit below 10 degrees Celsius. Which for winter actually is not that bad.
Yeah.
And the good thing, I put the water was very warm. The water was almost 30 degrees. So I was quite okay. I think my observers and my coaches, they were colder than I was.
They looked all rugged up, ready to go to the snow.
Yeah.
Which is, as you know, Maarten, when we're in the water as a swimmer, we're usually in the best place,
Absolutely. It's the same deal as when it's raining very hard. It's better place to be in the water.
Yeah.
We're moving, we're keeping those fires burning in our body, we're at our race pace or at that, happy pace for that particular goal. And they're out there just kind of, focused on you. And it must, I'm just in awe of you. I can't even think of any more superlatives. I'm just bowing to you and to your amazing support team. How many are in your support team?
Yeah, I think the support team for this 45 hours, and it was not even about breaking the record. It was about memorizing my best friend Sebastian, who died 2 months ago. And he only he died at the age of 45 years. It has been very tough because he was my best friend, and he has been my best friend for the last 25 years. And I was with him the last couple of weeks before he died, and I was at his home, almost nursing him. And I was in a lot of pain when that happens. And it felt good to memorize him for 45 hours. So we did, and for me, memorizing and giving something bad that happens in my life, it feels good to do that with swimming. So I did that. We made it a happy 45 hours as well, because with the foundation, we raised for cancer research. The last couple of years, we raised millions for cancer research, almost 18 millions. And we are very grateful that we were able to do that. And that were 45 cancer research projects that we could start with all those money. So 45, the number 45 was also a very good number. So therefore, I decided to swim for 45 hours. And when the 45 hours was done, I got out of the water. I lightened the last candle, dried myself, and went to a big sleep.
Yeah. Okay. So Shelley, just so he lit every hour. There was another candle that he did. That was great.
I mean,
exactly.
I am moved. I am moved because we have all in our lifetime, no matter what age, no matter what demographic, we've all grieved. We've all lost loved ones. We've all wished we could have done something to save them for whatever reason. And when did this particular project start? Was it after Sebastian had passed, or was it before Sebastian had passed? And then the 45 and the numbers all came together.
No, it started after.
Really?
And the pain you talk about, I really relate, of course, but also, well, he was part of that whole foundation, and he was part of the project with raising that much money. But can you imagine that you have your best friends, which you're doing that project with, and you're raising millions for cancer research, and then all of a sudden he got diagnosed cancer himself. And of course, I feel like I wanted to do more in some way. But like you said, we did everything we could, but there was no therapy that could help him. But that was very painful. And when he died 2 months ago, you start to look at things you can do and how you can deal with that loss and how you can deal with that pain. And of course, I have been swimming those long swims for a couple of years now. And then a couple of weeks after he passed away, it just felt good. And it felt good to finish 2023 and Christmas time and ending the year. It's time to reflect, to look back at what came to us. So it just felt nice to do.
So many poignant messages for us in life, in sport, family, and our values, I think. But Sebastian, you have literally walked in the shoes and the path that Sebastian went through.
Yeah, it was terrible, because when I was diagnosed when I was 19, he was my best friend already, and he was in the hospital before I came, and he was so close to me during my treatments, and that he got ill himself so many years later. And Shelley, his lymphoma disease was so close to the leukemia I had. We went to the same specialists.
Oh my gosh.
It was horrible.
A lot of coincidences there. I mean,
yeah.
You know, they call it sliding doors. Americans and English people call it sliding doors, where, you know, a path happens, and if it happened earlier or later, another door would have opened and closed. But your sliding doors just seem to have really synchronized with Sebastian. And I'm sure all of this has been very cathartic for you as well. But even your own journey, you know, you've done amazing things. You've bounced back, won a gold medal, and then you've just done all these amazing things, and then you lose your best friend.
Yeah, that's true. And the story I always tell about my personal illness is that, well, I was 19, I was very young, but it was quite okay to be that young, because I did not have children. And to deal with such a situation when you have children, it's even harder. I cannot imagine being in the hospital while I'm having two daughters now. And the horrible thing with Sebastian is that he has two children. So we went to the same thing, but he has that children, and that made it even more painful. And with the counter current swim pool 45 hours I did, it was so beautiful that we light up that light every single hour. And his children were part of that as well. And his children, his daughter was born when he was 32, and his son was born when he was 34. So the 32nd and 34th lights they put on, and to have that together during those 45 hours was really beautiful, I think.
Wow.
Amazing. I know Stephen's got a lot of questions for you. I'll just ask one more thing. How was it cleansing for you in that 5 hours? I know you were swimming. I know you had a job to do. I know you had many things to think about, you know, besides Sebastian, but really, what was that energy like? You know, because 5 hours, some people struggle to do an hour of anything. Let alone 10K in 2 hours, but, you know, to go 45 hours, I mean, where did you get that sense of power and strength from? From
Yeah,
special?
well, I think it starts that I quite enjoy reflecting. I'm quite fine with being by myself and my thoughts. So I kind of enjoyed that, doing that as well. But then, hey, 45 hours is quite a long time. But it's time to reflect and to be by myself and to think about all different things. And sometimes it was hard, but the main part I was very focused and very focused on the job, on the task I was doing, enjoying. Think about Sebastian that was on a picture besides my pool, looking at him almost every single stroke. So it was okay. The night times where my body wanted to sleep were quite tough sometimes. But it's okay that it's tough, and it's okay to move on, and time passes. And eventually I knew I wanted to swim that 45 hours. My coaches, they were quite afraid that because in your mind, of course, it's painful, and you start to have ideas why it's a better idea to quit. And my coaches were quite afraid that that would happen after 36 hours, that I would think, hey, the record is broken, I'm done. But I did not have that for 1 second, because I was so in my mind on this symbolic thing about the 45 and on Sebastian, and that was my true goal, and to finish that 45 hours.
Well, I know, Stephen's the guru in, the methodology, and he is such a scientist inside and out. His mind is amazing. Steve, what do you think it was that Maarten was able to hone in on that enabled him to keep, Sebastian's spirit, or what part of the brain, and what are the chemicals that were driving within him to be able to maintain what he was doing?
Actually,
it's like, when are you going to fall apart?
Yeah, this is more incredible than I thought. I knew you had done your long swims over the course of the last few years, which is very important. But you really started this preparation about 6 weeks ago, correct? I mean, after to swim 45 hours with basically a month and a half of
but
training.
it's not very fair to say the preparation was 6 weeks. My preparation have been since I was a little boy at an age of 7 years.
Yeah,
and it has always been, swimming has always been a part of my life, and I really enjoy. And I'm still swimming. So I since the Olympics I retired and I quit, and I did not swim a lot for 10 years. But then in 2016, 2017, I started swimming daily again. So the specific preparation was 6 weeks. But I have all the assets I needed to do this 45 hours.
Yeah.
Now, Stephen said to me, you will love this, Maarten, because I've had long COVID. And Stephen said, oh, you bounce back faster because of all your training that you did as a marathon swimmer. And I'm thinking the same thing here for Maarten, doing this amazing 45 hours, and thinking, okay, 6 weeks, I put this together. But as you say, you've been doing it your whole life. Isn't it amazing, that foundation that you've built up, that we can tap into that, and those reserves when we really, really really want it?
Yeah, we call it big swim memory. So all of the big swims you've done in your life is a foundation for what you did.
Absolutely. Yeah. Well, and actually, I told you 6 weeks, but I think because of the loss of Sebastian, that takes a lot of energy when it happens. Yeah. So I was started to think about doing this 6 weeks before, but I was in doubt if it was a good idea for quite a couple of weeks after that as well. because I saw my data and my HRV were still very bad. So it did not swim a lot in November, and started to do really easy sessions with swimming only in December again. But with that foundation that's so strong, it's easy to build. And when my HRV and my total fitness is okay, then for me it's possible to do that for 45 hours.
When you were training during your sessions, were you swimming in a pool or in the endless pool?
Always in the endless pool.
Okay.
And so the endless pool I really enjoy, especially for the easy swims. And when I swim faster, I like to see my times. I like to surprise myself. So then it's easier to go to the pool. But for the easy sessions, the endless pool and the swim I have, and I can make training sessions on that, and I can say, well, I want to swim for 50 minutes that speed and then 50 minutes at that speed. So that really works for me.
Got it. Now, when I saw you, because you're so tall, I think in your endless pool, you have to focus much more than someone else because you almost reach the end. Somebody small like me, we can move around a little bit, but you had to really focus on staying in place, both left and right, front and back.
Yeah, I think I have a little less space to move than you would have, but it's quite okay.
Okay.
And especially during the nights. Well, I think as a swimmer, and I think you can relate with this part. As a swimmer, you feel the water, right? So you feel the stream. So I don't think it's not the vision that guides me. It's more that the current itself guides me. And if I'm moving left or right too much, I feel it with my stroke.
Got it.
I think that's more of a guidance.
Yeah.
But Stephen, I think Maarten's used to it. Like he went to the Olympics, and I'm sure his bed was shorter than a normal person. You know, I know that the Olympians, the basketball players, always say, "I need a special bed." Did you get a special bed in Beijing? You know, Chinese people aren't really tall. Did you get a special bed in Beijing?
Absolutely. Yeah, I'm 6'9", so I'm really tall. So I got an extra special bed at the Olympics. I did not get an extra special bed at the hospital. So the hospital beds are 6'8", and they are terrible. So the nurses tried to help me with extending that bed, but it was quite a hard job.
So which do they say, okay, this arm can hang out for a bit, or this leg?
Exactly,
yeah.
Just try to make the best out of the situation.
Yeah.
So you're very good at adaptation.
Yeah. So a few questions about Sebastian. What age of the photo did you have next to the pool? Was it a special photo?
He was in his he was on the beach with a towel, enjoying himself being there. He was not ill yet, so I think he was around 35 years old at that time. So I think it's 10 years ago. It's strange that the vision did not work as well during the whole night, because you start to hallucinate a bit. So the photo, Sebastian's photo, changed a bit as well sometimes. So sometimes I was surprised about his sunglasses and was not seeing that right what he was on. And at one time I thought that he was all tattooed on his body. So I needed to take an extra look if I was seeing that correctly.
Yeah. So maybe describe not all 45 hours, but the first day, the first evening, the first morning, or the second morning, and the second evening. Just describe how you were feeling and thinking.
Yeah, start was fine and focused. Happy that so I started at 5 in the morning. Sun got up at 8:30. I had a really straight drinking and eating schedule, and I really enjoy having that. I'm having a big clock besides me at the swimming pool. And I like to see what time it is and how long I'm swimming. And I'm having a drink or gel or feed every 15 minutes. And it's exactly 50 minutes. So when I see the number 14, I do not get a thing. And then I see my coaches prepare my drink and my gels or my foods. And then exactly when it's changes to 15, I'm getting the drink. And that made it really, really straight and focused. And the whole morning went by quite okay. The first night, I'm not swimming that long at that time. So it's only 14, 15 hours I have been swimming, and then it's getting dark again. That first night is quite tough. And I'm already seeing things that are not there. I'm seeing change in color first. And the strange thing is that it's my first night. And to hallucinate the first night is not a very good sign. And I reflect on that, and I think it's caused because the night before I did not sleep very well. And like I said, I decided to start at 5 in the morning, and I have quite a regret on doing that because I do not fall asleep very early. So I just slept 2 hours the night before, and I realized that that's maybe the reason why the hallucination part starts the first night already. And I have the history that I know that when I'm on 40% of the challenge, mentally it's quite the toughest time at the event because you don't feel very well, but the hours in front of you is so huge, it feels not reachable. So I talked to my coaches at that time that it's nonsense, and that I believe I will not make those 45 hours if I'm already hallucinate this first night. And they are very wise, and they respond that can be true, but it's nonsense to quit because you are afraid that something will happen in 24 hours time. So just move on the first night and see what happens next, and take it step by step. And to my surprise, that helps. And I'm having that first night, and then the second day, it's quite fine. At the evening of the second night, I think the hallucination starts again, and it scares me a bit because in our own garden and in our own house, it's getting a little bit more crowded. And all those people, I recognize who they are, but they change their faces in my head. They change to some sort of bold tattoo monster look. And they don't look very friendly. And in my mind, I'm not. I think my wife explains to me afterwards, it was not that crowded, but it felt so crowded, and it didn't feel safe almost, and it quite scared me. And I sometimes ask my coaches to come closer so I can check that they are really my coaches and not the monster I'm seeing. And on one side I'm scared, but on the other side I'm some sort of curious what will happen next and what my mind will show me, something like that. And the strange thing is that it's just disappearing. and all of a sudden I'm seeing the normal faces again, and it's getting more peaceful. And I think that I feel that the 45 hours is close. The second night is almost easier than the first night. And with the mind on the picture, and I'm seeing Sebastian's picture in a normal way again, and I see all those lights just that adding up besides me. I really enjoy, and after 45 hours at 2 a.m. in the morning again, but not Thursday this time, but Saturday, it's finished. And we had a beautiful memorizing 45 hours, thinking about Sebastian, celebrating the research, the 45 research projects, and on the side, breaking the Guinness World Record.
Yeah. When you were, go ahead, Shelley.
Oh, I was just going to say, is there any correlation in that, you know, in that mind strategy, that, you know, whether it's the whole project strategy, did you chunk it down into hours, you know, as we do in marathon swims or in sport, where, don't eat, don't think about the whole elephant, but, just have a bite, chew on that, and then, or one feed to the next. What was your strategy for the 45 hours? Did you have a strategy with your coach, with Sebastian, in utilizing the power of Sebastian's memory?
Well, it's exactly how you describe it. It's not eating the elephant in total, but just step by step. And actually, it's word by word the exact advice my coaches was telling me in that first night. And I think that's very powerful. And I have the experience that if you swim a long time, you can look back and happy that you already have swum for 10 or 15 or later on for 20 hours, and it's fine. But the scary thing starts when you look in front and realizing that you still have so many hours left. So looking back is okay. Looking forward, it's not okay. And for me, in those 15 minutes every single time really helps. So it's going from drinking points to drinking points. And what I realized this 45 hours as well is there's a big variation in how long those 50 minutes feel. Sometimes you have 50 minutes and they just fly by, and it's almost like your head is somewhere else. And sometimes those 15 minutes feels like hours. And I especially had that first night when I was so sleepy and my eyes were closing all the time, and it felt like I was falling asleep for a couple of seconds, and I was outside the stream and I had to adjust myself. And that was not that bad because it was okay and I managed to do so. But the bad side effect on that was that I had to focus on doing that almost every second, and that made time go by so slowly. Yeah. So those 50 minutes, they felt like endless.
I'm going to share my screen because I have the video of you swimming that you shared with me, Maarten, and I want to show it, and then you can describe what is happening so we can actually see it. So let me just share my screen. Okay, let's get it here. Where'd it go? Sorry, I had it. Here we go. Okay. So here you are. This is the 10th hour. And can you describe the situation here?
Yeah, I think I'm quite okay here because it's 5 o'clock in the afternoon and it's still light. And it's balancing my position in the pool, and I'm moving back a bit, but I think actually I'm quite fine at this spot still.
Yeah. So here's your friend. Here's the clock. and your observers and coaches were here, and can you describe what else is there? This is your
Yeah, so you have
garden.
so you have the light candles. You have that on the left side.
Yeah.
And we added one every hour. So after 10 hours, well, it's light now, so you do not see them very clearly, but there should be 10 candles lighting. And those, I really like to have control myself. So all the bins you see next to my pool, it's full with drinks and with food. And I like to have the possibility to take them myself. You see the coach getting a leaf out of the water because you don't want too many leaves inside the pool. So they had the job to get the leaves out of the pool as well.
No jellyfish, no sharks.
Just some frogs sometimes.
Okay, so I'm going to move forward and then we'll go to the night. So it's getting darker. So we see the light, that we see the candles there. And now let's see, this is almost 12 hours. So it's the early evening. It's about 5 p.m. in the evening. And how were you? This is the first night, so 12 hours in, more or less. How are you feeling here?
Yeah, still okay. And actually, at first I thought that I would hate the dark because it makes you feel so much more sleepy. But in the beginning of the evening, I was still quite okay. And it was quite nice to have a smaller view. I'm used to do those big fundraising 11 city swims I did, and in the Netherlands we have a very famous tour. It's the 11 city tour, and it's a speed skating event, and it's bigger than the Olympic Games or even the World Cup soccer when it takes place. But the problem is that the last time it was held was in 1997, maybe because of global warming, because you need to have ice for 200 kilometers, and I decided to swim that 200 kilometers. So with those 11 city tours, we raised those almost 18 million euros. But doing those swims outside, you have a small boat next to you. So your world becomes very small. And with the garden, my world was a lot bigger. So that was hard sometimes. So when it became dark, my world became smaller again. What was quite nice, actually.
So now we're let's see here. Now it's very, very late at night.
So now it's 1 o'clock. So I think this is the time I was having quite a bad time. Yeah.
Okay. And how is the light?
How do you? Oh, sorry, Steve.
How is the light? Does it hurt your eyes, or you wear dark glasses, or?
Yeah, I like the pool to be really lightened. And what I did use to have the nights were two things. I used light glasses sometimes for half an hour, and that shine the blue light inside my eyes to manipulate my biorhythm a bit. It's used for jet lags as well. And then I was swimming breaststroke for half an hour. And I used quite some caffeine gum as well. So that were two things I was using to get through the nights.
Got it.
How do you now, knowing that you have swum twice in that river, that 200 kilometers, the first time you got pulled out because of your health, which was your safety and security, which was, I'm so glad that was your number one priority and that they did that. And then the second time you succeeded. And there's I remember there's hundreds of people all around you, and at different locks, there's people cheering. And then you come to this swim where you have the solitude of Sebastian, and it's you and Sebastian and a few people on the sidelines. How does that change from those big events with lots of people to this very personal, intimate setting?
Yeah, I think it's exactly that. And I think the 11 City Tour, the goal was to raise lots of funds. And it was very nice. And it was very nice to have so many people involved. And it was broadcasted on national television live for so many hours. And this was not about not about raising funds, but this was a real intimate place to memorize Sebastian, and it felt better to have it like this. And everything I do, I try to make it real or something. And the 11 City Tours were real the way we did. And this felt more real with the intimate situation we made it.
Because the reason I asked that, Maarten, is you know, you have achieved on so many different levels, you know, whether it's the young boy starting out in swimming and then the Olympic gold medal, but then post Olympics, you know, what you've achieved as a father, a husband, you know, and this amazing foundation that you've established in the 45 research projects, you know, because of using your body and mind to achieve, you know, as an example, in your philanthropic, you know, activities. To, you know, how do you prepare for something like that? You know, because as you said, this is a very intimate setting, but you have a goal, and there's a lot of people out there, as you know, in our sport, in all sports, in all endeavors in life, that want to honor someone or an event or something, you know, that's very personal for them. And I just see this, you know, this amazing correlation, this link, this synchronicity between you and so many other people around the world.
Yeah, I think when you are preparing for the Olympic Games, it's about winning, and it's about showing the world that you are faster than all the other people and all the other swimmers. It's about showing how fast and how strong you are. And I think sport and swimming can be so much more than that. And swimming for me is a method to do so much more. And I think I'm very grateful to be able to use sports for that reason, and to be in this swimming pool and to memorize my best friends. I'm very grateful that I can do that. And I'm very grateful that when I swam the 11 City Tour and so many people were involved, that I could play that role through sports and through swimming.
Yeah. But Maarten, you were the most humble gold medalist I have ever met. I was there, remember? I was there in Beijing. I was on the water. I watched you come home like a trooper in that last lap. And I just was like, you know, Sid Cassidy was next to me, and we were just, I've got goosebumps remembering it right now. And you came out of the water just so humble. You know, the first gold medalist. You will always be the first gold medalist as a 10K marathon swimmer at the Olympic Games. You will always be the first Olympic 10K gold medalist. And you came out and there was, you know, there was no bravado. There was no song and dance. There was just so much humility. And I'm just wondering, is that indicative of the journey you went through in bouncing back from leukemia?
Yeah, I think two things. I think you don't want to see me dance, so my qualities are not on that part. And also, well, I think the more on a serious side, I think that I realized through my illness that I was so lucky. And I always tell people that I was not fighting cancer, I won, but I was so lucky that there was a therapy that could help me. And the difference between me and all the patients that do not survive is not that I was stronger or I wanted to be cured more or something strange like that, but I was just more lucky. And I think that's a very important message to tell. And I think it's on a broader level, that's valid for a lot of other things in life as well. And we always tend to look at Olympic champions, that they are the people who are the strongest and the fastest and mentally the best, and they work the hardest. Well, hey, I'm absolutely sure that every Olympic champion, they were so lucky as well. And if I look at my race, I won. David Davies was second. And man, he was so much faster swimmer than I was. At third place, and you know this story as well, Shelley, was Thomas Lutz. And he was dominating the fields for almost 10 years at that time. He was so strong. Thomas Lutz deserved that win so much, especially, I'm not sure if you remember this, but I think his dad died half a month before the Olympics in Beijing.
Yes.
And he wanted to win so bad for his dad to have that story around it. And he deserved that so much. And it's not that I deserved that gold medal more than they did. I just did my best, and it just played out the way it was played out. And of course, I'm happy that I won and I got that gold medal. But it does not mean that I'm better than David Davies is. That does not mean that I'm better than Thomas Lutz is. And I deserve that medal more than they do. So I think that fits that humbleness and that you saw a bit.
Yeah. On that,
No, Steve.
I had to laugh because when we were watching this video, you took a feeding stop, and it was like you were at the Olympics. I mean, you grabbed the water bottle, drank it, and you were off. I was assuming you would take at least a minute or something. You took like 6 seconds. It was amazing how quickly your feeding stops were on this.
Some habits are really hard to break, Steve. Some habits are just instilled in us.
Yeah.
The rules describe that I was only allowed not to swim for maximum 5 minutes per hour. And it feels unnatural almost, because you are so used to drink fast and move on. Yeah. So what I did was keep that intact for most of the drinking. And every 4 hours, and you will see that in a couple of minutes, when the clock got to 55, I would stop and stand straight and make it to 4 minutes and 30 seconds in total, and to move on after that. And almost that fast drink, and I think it was more like 8 or 9 seconds every stop. The observers and my coaches clocked very carefully to make sure at the end I would not pass that 5 minute rules.
Yeah, and I think this is a good time, Shelley. I'm going to stop this. We'll come back to this video, but I think this is a good time to stop this and then actually show the last 800 meters of the 2008.
Oh, he's into the finish stretch.
Yes.
You know, I'm gonna finish shoot.
And here we go. So, Maarten, I turned off the sound. And if you could explain, Shelley and I, we know who these people are, but if you could explain.
Yeah, and I'm crying because I was right on the water next to him. It was amazing.
So just to put it, this is the last stretch, the last 800 meters of, they just rounded the last buoy here. And
Yep,
go
and they
ahead.
had the final. Did you feed on that final corner at the top end there, Maarten, or not?
Yeah, good question. No, I don't think I did. No. I skipped the last drink.
It was weird because it was a rowing course.
I'm not quite sure where.
Yeah, I think it was here already. Yeah, but the hallucinating part. It's interesting that it goes through different phases almost. That at first it's in colors, and then the monster part was a very strange phase. The last couple of hours, my wife Daisy, she was sitting next to the pool, and I'm always making stories about what people are telling each other and what the conversation is like, and you cannot hear that as a swimmer because your ears are full with water, so you do not hear a thing. But I make this whole stories, and I'm quite successful in doing that when I'm clear. But I was absolutely sure that my wife was crying and shouting, and I asked her what's wrong, and she explains to me, "Oh, nothing." And I was just so off the situation I was seeing. So I think that's part of the hallucination effect as well.
Did you know that you were hallucinating, or was it?
Yeah, I knew.
Oh, you
I
knew.
knew.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Since you were conscious of that, Maarten, since you were conscious of your hallucinations, did you play with it? Like, did you pretend you were a kid and, you're at the movies, or was it something that you were trying to control, or did you just let it just flow?
I just let it flow. I'm not. I don't think I was able to control. So it was almost, and it happened on spots that there was lots of light and shadow, and the light and shadow just messed up in my head. And
But
I
you would
saw
have had that too. You would have had that too, Maarten, during your cancer treatment. Those intense moments of while those drugs were doing what they needed to do in the treatment and your journey, that whole journey, that would have played on your mind many times, I would think, would it not?
Yeah, but I've been thinking about. I think it's more about feelings that you did not get to the right spot. And I think my own illness, I mean, own hospital, I talked and thought about that for so many years already. That's it's okay. It's okay that happens. And I can deal with that, something like that. But it's true. I was hallucinating because of the morphine, the high doses morphine I had at that time as well. And I was not as conscious as I was doing the swim. So maybe the hallucination were a bit stronger. But it's strange that you go back to that same spot where your body is doing the same thing for such a different reason almost.
And Maarten, this is very interesting to me. So I'm going to go back to the night here. And it seemed, this is when let me go back here. So it seemed to me that in the nighttime, your position in the pool was more toward the back. And then as daylight was coming, and we can see the daylight is coming, let's see, about here. You seem to come closer to the front of the pool. So in the evening, it seemed to me you were in the back of the pool, and then as it became light, you seemed to be more toward the front. Was that something you thought about, or was just happened naturally?
I was not aware, actually, no. But I can imagine that if you are too close to the flow, then it can hurt my fingers because you get
Yeah.
inside almost.
Yeah.
So I can imagine that you need to be a little bit more focused to be on the front side.
Got it. Got it. And
Particularly
then
when you're 6'9"
yeah.
and you've got not much place to move.
Yes.
It's
Yeah.
like, I mean, the only correlation I can say is when I swam in a cage, you know, for 90 kilometers for 12 and a half hours. And I felt that pull back and forth. And it's like, no, stay to the front. No, don't go to the back, you know. No, don't go too far to the front because, you know, the fingers, the knuckles will get, oh, no, I'm in at the back. I've got to, you know, the push and pull.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's a strange feeling as well, Shelley, because then you cannot control your own speed almost, right? It's the same as I'm doing here. You set the speeds and you need to stay up.
Yeah. And how did you feel when it became morning? You know, when it started to become more light, did you get energetic? Were you happier?
Yeah, it was the time went faster, so I was happy. The hard thing, I think here I was so happy I went through that hard night. But again, the danger was that I was happy. Hey, I already swam for 28 hours. But that means I still have to do another 16. I'm not that far.
You're over the hump, but you've got a long way to go. You know, you're over the hump, you're over halfway, but you've got a long way to go.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you have any in swims like this, you know, when you're talking about these are mammoth events. This is an event. This isn't like a swim. This isn't just like a marathon swim. I'm going to swim the channel, and no disrespect to anybody who's achieved anything in our sport. But when you've got an event like this and it involves a lot of people and your safety and security is number one always, what do they, each person, what's their role for you? Do you have someone that you can look at and say, that makes me feel warm and fuzzy, or, oh, I'm glad they're looking at me? I mean, is there certain people that have a role in a particular section of a 45 hours? Or do you just let everybody just go about their business and you just swim?
No, I think there was a difference in observers and coaches. And the coaches, I'm used to that they coach me more often, and they know very good what I like and what I do not like. And I'm very specific what I do not like as well. So I hate it when you see here my coach is just sitting next to me and just looking at me, and he's just sitting there for hours. And I really enjoy that, and I enjoy that he's sitting in a position where I can see him doing my breathing. And it feels like I'm laying there in the pool myself, but we are doing that together.
Yeah.
And that's just his company it's very nice. And you see the observer a little bit more away from me. So you see one coach, one observer. And the history I had with all the coaches, they taught me that, for instance, I do not like when my coaches ask me, how am I doing? Because if they ask, then I'm always forced to answer. And if I do not feel very well, sometimes I do not like to talk about it, because I have the history that if I talk about I'm not feeling very well, it does not help. It's getting bigger. So I want to control the conversation, the small conversations we have. So I'm quite specific in the things I want and do not want.
Do you have a, like, for the next hour, it's a joke hour, and they tell a joke in parts every 15 minutes, and you've got to, because it's a long time to take your mind off things, even though, you're doing everything very habitual. I'm really interested because I mean, it's fascinating to hear how different people achieve different things. And I'm just wondering, do you have any strategies like that where they focused on different things for different parts of that 45 hours?
Yeah.
Whether it's a joke.
If you go to the last 5 or 8 hours, Stephen, I think you will see it's dark, but maybe you will see my best friend, Stefan. And he's my best friend, so he knows me very well, and that really helps. But he's very good to make that situation more easy to deal with, and he's joking quite a lot. But also that part is he feels when I'm in pain, it's not very nice that you have someone as your coach that's always joking. So he just waits and see how I am, and if he sees that I'm in for a joke, he will joke. So I'm quite specific for him as well, and for Stefan to be those last hours. So I was just talking about Sebastian and nurse him the last 2 weeks of his life. Stefan was there with us, so we were with the three of us as 3 best friends. And it was so painful to go through that as our best friend group, and to have this together as well. It was really nice to have him with me those last couple hours during the swim as well.
Yeah. What did you eat?
Oh,
I'm sorry.
Steve, go ahead.
What did you eat when you were eating stuff? What was the kind of foods that you had?
Yeah, I had lots of energy drink, lots of energy gels. I really like to use Maarten. I think they have an innovative thing that my body can cope with more calories. And every hour I have a solid food, and that varies from macaroni to chocolates, candy bars, to candy cookies. And I think in total, in 24 hours, I eat around 13 to 14,000 kilocalories.
Wow. Okay, I'm going to ask the obvious question. Did you have to go to the toilet? Because that's what people all want to know. How did he go to the toilet for 45 hours? How did he hold it in?
Normally the processing part just stops, right? So at the 11 city tours, that took the swim was 43 hours, and then I quit. And after that, I did a successful attempt of 74 hours, and I made a wetsuit with a pooing zipper on the back. And the stupid thing was I did not use that one. I did not go to the toilet once, but actually I did go to the toilet at this time. And it took me 2 minutes to go to the toilet and be back in the water.
Wow.
So that little poo shoot, preparation. Even if you didn't use it, Maarten, it's all about preparation, isn't it?
You can, in life, there are a lot of things you cannot control. But there are a lot of things that you can control as well.
Yeah. So take us toward the last, 5 minutes. What were you thinking in the last 5 minutes or so?
That was weird. There was a process thing, because normally at this time, every other single hour, if you see this clock, I'm standing up because it's my resting time. And it didn't make sense to rest the last 5 minutes, because then you will finish standing up. It's very strange. Yeah. So at first we made those 5 minutes rest. We did that 15 minutes before. And this is very strange, because the pool has been home for 45 hours. And I was almost so comfortable that it was being comfortable, that it was uncomfortable, but still my home. It felt very unreal that it was like almost over, that it was very strange. And and here it's just counting the minutes, and I think because I will not quit when it's on 45 flat. I think I will get out in like 60 seconds time, and I'm quite focused on the next step as well, because I think the process was I needed to get out, and then I would have the last candle, the 45th candle would be the candle I would light. And I was wondering if I will still be able to get out of the water and stand up and do that part of the whole plan. And I think my own clock. So the red lights that you see is a clock I was looking at the whole time. And I think I'm just to be sure I'm swimming an extra couple of seconds, and I'm wondering how many seconds I will need to swim extra. But I got in exactly at 00:41 and exactly 45 hours at 0:01. You see here that I quit and I stand up. And then one of my coaches said, "No, we are not prepared yet. Swim on, swim on." So I do an extra stroke, because they had like a big tutor, and they wanted to finish with a big tutor. They just now. I'm quitting my Garmin, so it's all locked, nice, and fair. And I'm just getting out of the water, and my wife is there, and my coach is, and it's done.
It seems so relaxed.
I know.
I know it. Like, but this tells me how much this team support knows you so well, and you trust them, and they, you know what I mean? Like, it's like, oh, you're done. Okay. They know you so well, Maarten, and you know they know their role so well. Would I be right in saying that?
Absolutely. So they're so crucial. It's so to have in that uncomfortable situation you are, to have the comfort that you can trust them, that if you have the agreement that they will give you your drink you need every single 15 minutes, and they are on time for 45 hours straight, not missing one drink, it gives you a lot of comfort.
Because these are the type of people that you would like to respond, not react. You know, these are the people that, as Steve knows, you know, from his experience with his heart attack, and, you know, those medical responders came and took care of him. You know, with you, it's like you want those people to be calm, collective, knowledgeable, but be able to respond effectively because they know you so well.
Yeah. That was great. Maarten, you got out of the pool like you had just finished a 2-hour workout. It was incredible to me.
I know, that's what I'm saying. It was like, oh, I've just been in the backyard pool. Oh, you know, I've had the lights on. Oh, okay, I'll light the last one. And I'm not trying to diffuse anything about the enormity of what you've achieved, but looking outside, that's why I said, Steve, it's like, it was so calm, but...
Yeah, I was. Well, I think I agree on that. Well, I was quite stable. I was okay. Though one of the coaches, he asked me yesterday, so a day after, he was like, "Well, if you got out of the water, and you look like that you were able to go on for some longer," and I was like, "Yeah, I could have." But too bad, our best friend only reached the age of 45 years old. So I needed to quit. It was done. It was okay.
Yeah.
Well, that's a nice omen for Sebastian. That's a nice omen for Sebastian.
Again?
That's a lovely omen from Sebastian. He wasn't 50 years old. You didn't have to swim for 50 years.
Yeah, so it was 45, yeah. And to be still, so I think you are only able to swim for that long if you balance things out. And for instance, we were just talking about the amount of food I was eating. I had a lot of work with stabilizing and having the right amount as well. I was moving in the water the morning before, I was on a scale, and the scale said I was 98.9 kilograms. The next morning after my swim, I was 98.9.
No.
I was completely stable.
Wow.
But that's what you want. But that, you
Wow.
know, as a swim coach, that's what I look at when I weigh my swimmers, you know, before and after, to make sure that they are getting, you know, and that's a fine, but that's 45 hours. That's amazing. Bravo to you and your team, because
Yeah.
that is quite an achievement. How's your feet and how's the tongue?
So here's how's the feet and how's the tongue. Here we go. I mean,
How are those feet? Let's see the hands.
let's
see the
see.
hands,
I'm
Maarten.
gonna try to get it
Hands are
bigger.
fine again. Yeah.
I can't get it any bigger.
How are your toes?
Yeah, they are fine again. But they were very rimply. I'm not sure if that's a correct English word for it, but yeah, so they were very strange, and they hurted a bit as well. So I think that it breaks small veins in your hair on your hands. So it was not a very nice feeling. But well, it looks terrible when you're done. But a couple of hours later, they are fine again.
Because your 71 hours in the river, that didn't look good.
Yeah, the funny, well, my feet were not a lot better this time, so they were still very bad. There's the funny thing, when I was doing the 11 City Tour and I had to get out after 53 hours, there was a picture made of my feet. And that year, because also it was a national event, right? But that picture, it won Dutch photo prizes for the best picture of the nation that year. Because it's the picture, people could just feel the pain, but it's not a big thing, because a couple of hours later it's just normal again.
So what do doctors, and maybe Stephen can give me some feedback on this, when you look at that, what does that tell you from a medical point of view, Steve?
Oh, because the skin gets very waterlogged. There's a lot of water there. Then the cells actually then start to get, as you see, folded here, macerated, it's called. So, but like he said, a few hours later, then the body then readjusts back to its its normal situation. But it does look very, actually, I gotta say, it looks very cool to me. It shows it shows a lot of hard work.
An amazing story, Maarten.
Yes, yeah. And what about your eyes? Did you have goggle marks? You know, when we train, even for 2 hours, we often have goggle marks, but you had your goggles on for 45 minutes.
Yeah. For 45 hours, yeah.
45 hours.
It was quite okay. Well, what I did, I had two different kind of goggles. I had the Hub goggles that were quite big, and I had the Magic 5 goggles that were very small. And I changed them every 10 hours.
Okay.
So I had the small, the big, the small, the big, and so there was just areas around my eyes that could cure when I was wearing the other goggles.
Got it. And then what about the chest strap? Was that a heart monitor?
It was for my heart rate monitor, yeah.
Okay. All right. And there was no chafing, or there's no it's on pretty tight, no problem rubbing?
Yeah, I have some bruises, but it's okay.
You've been through worse, haven't you?
Exactly, yeah. Not a problem.
I've got a quick question, Maarten. I know that the people going, I want to do this. You know, I want to go swim I want to swim in honor of a friend of mine, or I want to honor, you know, a charity. What kind of tips would you give for someone who is starting out in our amazing sport and they want to be like Maarten? Because I know you've inspired millions in your Look at that smile on your face. Your humility going to make me cry. What do you say to what do you say to kids? Because I know you are an amazing human being and what you've done in for your countrymen and women. What message do you give them for hope for the future and how they can help their fellow man and sister, brother, father, mother?
Yeah. Well, what I try to tell is that life is unpredictable and you cannot control it, and something bad happens, and that's part of life. And I try to have a little bit of acceptance on that. And I try to tell that they should try to reflect on themselves and what's special about them, and try to find something that they enjoy. I think I am quite a good swimmer because I really enjoy to swim. And I can do that for a long time because I like reflecting. I like to do something by myself for lots of hours. So because I like to do that, I'm doing it more often and was able to become better in that. So try to reflect more often, accept yourself who you are, and accept if something bad happens.
What about the elite athletes that I know that you must get asked to come and help prepare for the Olympic Games or a World Championships or a World Cup or a Winter Olympics? I mean, you said you weren't the best on the day. You're a lucky person on the day. How do you relate that to people who are really gung ho on the only way is a gold medal for them?
Yeah, it's a risky one. So I think on and a whole different part, but if you talk about the return on investments on professional athletes, it's not very good, huh? So it's being a professional athlete, it's rational. It's the worst investment in your time that you can make.
Yes, open water swimming, yes.
It's terrible because there are so many athletes that work their butt off and do not reach the Olympics. There are so many athletes that work their butt off and do not get an Olympic gold medal. So I think it's a far better way to approach that, is that, hey, I really enjoy that swimming and I really enjoy that work. And for me, the Olympic gold medal was almost some sort of bonus. And if you look at it that way, then the return on investment, it's all of a sudden a very good model, because I enjoy every single hour I put into that. And hey, all of a sudden, I'm Olympic champion now. And on the other side, I know so many athletes that were feeling so much frustration and feel that it's so unfair. And it's true, life is unfair, and the professional athlete world is so unfair. But that's part of the beauty as well.
Yeah. I remember speaking to your fellow compatriot, Edith van Dyke, and she came back after becoming a mum, and she said, "Oh, let them whinge, let them complain about everything. Once you become a mum, all this other stuff is just so it just doesn't matter anymore."
Yeah.
Do you feel that way, also, having endured what you've endured as a cancer survivor?
Yeah, I think as a professional athlete and winning Olympic gold, you are so focused on your task and you're making it that big that it's almost out of this world or something, and that's interesting. But it's not how the real world works, almost.
That little
because
bubble.
There are so much more important things than winning that gold medal. And that gold, I think the power and the value of that Olympic gold medal is that to be the inspiration and to make your country proud, and that lots of people see you do that. And that's far more valuable than you own that medal or something.
And with that, I mean, this interview has been unbelievable. The amount of wisdom and inspiration that you've given all of us is unbelievable, incredible. And Maarten, I think from Shelley, myself, and all the people who you have swum against and swum with, all the people you've met in the swimming world and the non-swimming world, we have to thank you very much. Thank you very, very much for all that you've done and all that you will do in the future.
Very welcome, Stephen.
Happy New Year.
Happy New Year. And with that,
Happy New Year.
God bless.
take care. Bye.
See you.
Bye. Thank you.